things. Whereas this other guy, not even in the same universe as him as far as being a musician or qualified, is charging $350 an hour. You know, it's kind of a skewed world, right? Kind of skewed. But this is just the fact. This is the truth, whether we like it or not. So here's some tips. Here's kind of part of the practical things. You can take that other information and do what you will if you want to try and start a piano empire here in Rexburg and get other teachers to teach under you. It's totally possible. It's been done. But if not, you know, here's some practical things that you can do right now. So who here charges per month instead of per lesson? Do most of you do that?
Or per semester.
Or you charge per semester. So that's even better. I would say that the more chunk of time that you charge for in advance, the better, for obvious reasons, right? You guys know what's your experience with lessons and missed lessons? All the time, right? Yeah, people will cancel and things last minute. So you want to charge as much upfront as you can. Don't charge per lesson. Don't say, oh yeah, bring a check every lesson or bring cash every lesson. Get a payment, have a date that it's due, and expect it by that date. And if they don't pay by that date, charge a late fee. Yeah.
Another thing I found that I do 2 group lessons a semester, and so when a mom calls up and wants to say, well, why should I pay this much when there's all these kids in the same lesson? You know, they wanted to call, but they were there for an hour, but that whole 8 kids are there instead of 1. And I said, no, it's part of your semester fee. This is what you get. You get 18 lessons and 2 group lessons for the whole semester. And it really helped for the mom to rest at ease that she was, you know, getting her money's worth and you know, stuff like that, to word it that way.
Yeah, you want to kind of change the mindset and make it more like a tuition-based thing. Okay. It's like when you guys pay tuition to take a college class.
And even with Spud Harvest. These
What?
kids are going out and making money and they'll skip lessons for Spud Harvest. And you say, well, you're paying for the whole semester. Do you skip school at college to go work for Spud?
Exactly.
You've paid your tuition. You decide, you know.
You pay your tuition, you're sick, you can't make it. You pay your tuition, you don't call the university and say, I didn't make it to class those few days, can I get reimbursed this amount of dollars? Right, it doesn't work like that. So you want to kind of set up that mindset for, because it could go either way when you teach piano lessons. People can expect for this amount of time and this exact, that exact amount of dollars, whether they come or not, and if they miss, they don't think they have to pay, but you have to set up a culture and kind of a mindset where that is the case. So this is just my, I tell people that, you know, if they cancel, they can't make it to a lesson, I'll do makeup lessons. I have usually a day designated where I practice if I don't do makeup lessons. And I would recommend that. I think people like that. Do you guys have good experiences with that, doing makeup lessons? Yes?
I have them trade with each other.
You have them trade with each other?
If they're going to miss, or if I know I'm going to miss, I get them scheduled differently. But yeah, you're committed to that money. And
Right. You're committed to that time slot. And I agree. You already have like a set time carved out, and you're going to be there, so you should get paid for it. Yeah.
Carol, do you have them arranged on their own, and you just?
sometimes they will arrange on their own. They'll send you text if they're trading. Sometimes they don't. They just tell them another student's there.
Yeah, I have a colleague in California who did that. She said she found that when she just posted the schedule and they worked it out, they didn't miss anymore, and she didn't have to deal with it.
I have one time that's really, really good about it because she doesn't want to miss it all. And she gets them traded and they get their lessons. They get their money's worth. So.
Cool. Yeah.
We kind of have a similar system, but we have a computer software program that manages it. And what happens is when a student cancels, if they cancel 24 hours in advance, they get a makeup credit, and their lesson is automatically converted into a makeup spot, so that anyone can then take that spot.
Wow.
And then if they redeem the credit, great. If they don't, then they just lose that credit. So it's kind of like trading lessons,
Cool.
but it's pretty helpful.
Do they have a specific time they have to redeem it by?
Usually we just say by the end of the school year,
Okay.
and if they don't, then they expire.
Got that. Yeah.
What I do is like if the semester consists of 14 lessons, I teach 15 weeks,
because I just build in, you can miss one lesson in a
Right.
semester, so that if they don't miss a lesson, they get one free.
Cool, yeah, I
That's
think
smart,
that's pretty
yeah.
good too. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do this, and I'm not subscribing any one way, but the way not to do it is charge per lesson and expect payment every lesson, or, you want to have a deadline, you want to have the biggest chunk of time that you're comfortable with and that your students are comfortable with, and you don't accept any, I missed, I'm not going to pay type stuff. Yeah.
I'm just looking at your next one. Keep an updated calendar online.
Yeah.
Can you do that through like Google Calendar or something? What?
You can do that through iCal. I'll actually show you how to do that.
Okay.
In a minute, I'll show you guys my website and what I did in Vegas. If you guys use Mac, if you don't use Mac, I'm not sure how to do it, but but I'll show you how to do it at least one way. And I'm sure there's other ways to do it and then this is something that I believe, making your students come to you. I think if you have your own space, your own kind of, when I've gone to houses to do lessons, they're making dinner and there's cats and Anyway, I did that a few times, and I kind of stopped anytime somebody calls. And I realized that when I moved to Vegas and I didn't have any students, like I would take anything because I need money, right? But after a while, I think after you've kind of built a reputation and you can get people to come to you. I think that's definitely the goal. And it's also
piano and tune also.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
And also, for me, most importantly, it's like time. It's just the time traveling. If I can stack 8 students right on top of each other, right, one after the other, I can make a lot more money in 3 hours than I can if I'm driving here to this part of town. And then if you have to do it, even if you're not busy and you have to do it and they insist, then you should charge extra. You should charge more and explain that it's a time gas thing. And I think people don't have a problem with that. Okay. Okay. And then let's talk about this. So this is what, Karen? Yeah, so masterclass type lessons. So you do 2 per semester.
We do it on the weeks of the holidays, like Labor Day,
Okay.
and then I do Thanksgiving week, because they're gonna miss for a holiday anyway, so I just get them all in one day.
Gotcha. Right. That's a good idea. A kind of model that I've seen and that I've kind of adapted is to do it once a month. So maybe the last week of a month, and that's, you have everybody come, and the way I do it is, and if somebody has a 30-minute lesson, then I give them a 15-minute masterclass lesson in front of everybody. If somebody has an hour lesson, then I give them a 30-minute masterclass lesson in front of everybody. Anyway, I arrange them in like kind of smaller groups. I don't have everybody come at once, but once a month. And you might say, well, you're only working half the time, which is true, but you kind of, like you said, you explain to the parents that this is a tuition-based thing, and actually having them play together in groups will motivate them to practice, which at the end of the day is what will make them better anyway than spending an extra 15 minutes with me, right? Spending an extra 5 hours at the piano during that month, preparing to play for their other students so they don't embarrass themselves, is actually more beneficial in the long run. And I think you'd all agree. That like sitting with a student, even if you sit with them for an hour and they haven't touched a piano, is a waste of time. Right? Yeah.
So would you do a master class for the little ones?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I would do it. It's tricky. I mean, I've had like 4 or 5 year olds, but I would group them all together and do a very short one. But yeah. Yeah. No, I would do it. And in those situations too, I would do like group lessons, like rhythm lessons or music games, and like stuff like that. If it's. So I guess the answer is yes and no. I would do like a masterclass type setting, but I might cater it to the age of what, and just explain that that's still part of it. So it's fair across the board with time for everybody, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I have a daughter who lives in Utah.
Mhm.
She's got a son taking cello and a daughter taking violin. The teacher just decided, it was about 6 months ago, that she was going to teach 52 weeks a year. They have to pay for 52 weeks a year, including Christmas and Thanksgiving, 4th of July, every holiday. And my daughter is really upset about this. Whether the kid is there, whether they're in Timbuktu, they're paying for the lessons. And there is no way that they can beat all 52 lessons.
Yeah, there isn't a way that they can beat all 52 lessons now.
And she charges like $30 a lesson.
Right.
Because it's market driven, people are willing to pay for it anyway to keep that teacher. They would, if not, they could get out money for a teacher.
I think maybe a better model for that teacher would be to increase her prices and charge for a whole, charge per semester, take 2 weeks off for Christmas, charge per semester. But she could still, it's just kind of the way she's doing it. If she charged more, she could make the same amount of money, and I'm sure people wouldn't even blink. It's that kind of feeling that, oh, I'm paying for this and I'm missing it, type of mentality. Anyway, I don't think that's smart, but I think she could make the same amount of money not teaching on Christmas if she just increased her prices. Does everybody agree with that? Yeah. Most of these ideas that I got were from, do any of you know her? She teaches at BYU. She's a really, really successful, you know her well. What kind of got my mind thinking was when I took a pedagogy class from her, and she talked a lot about the business side. And she got up and bragged. She's like, my husband's a lawyer and I make more money than he does. Anyway, she was pretty funny about it. But she charges per quarter, so she doesn't charge necessarily per semester, but per quarter of the year, with Christmas off and all those kind of things. And the money is automatically deducted. Once people set up, the money is automatically deducted from their account. So she uses Moobus or PayPal, and I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. And this is another thing I thought that was really neat. She'll audition students before she accepts them. So it kind of creates, being a salesman, you want to create kind of a, well, maybe I want you, right? Type of mindset. So she'll have them come and she'll charge them for the audition. So let's say it's like a 10-minute audition, she'll charge them $20 or something. You'll hear from me in a week, and she can do that because she has the reputation in the waiting list, right? Not everybody can do that. I'm still scared to do that, but in theory, that's where I like to go if I'm making most of my living off a private teaching studio.
On the other hand, if you charge for that, but you had a consultation just that you advertised that a student could come in for a free sample lesson, and you don't teach a full half hour ever, but you spend some time with the family, let them know your policies and why you're a great teacher. You might, it can help teach students that way.
Yeah, that's true. That's great. Come for a free sample lesson, or a $10 sample lesson.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Something like that. Yeah. No, that's a great idea. And then you can tell them your prices and you can hang your degrees on the wall or hang your students' first place, whatever, Yeah. This is a great book that I would recommend. A lot of really cool ideas in here. How I made $100,000 my first year as a piano teacher. By Kristen Yost, and I'll tell you after I give you a second to write it down, kind of the bullet points. She goes over a lot of the stuff that we've talked about, but the main thing that she gets at is teaching group piano and group guitar and group stuff like that. I find it harder to do piano unless you have the initial kind of cash to buy a bunch of pianos, to buy a piano lab. But guitar is, if any of you teach guitar or play guitar, is really easy to do. But it's still possible. She talks about doing piano, group teaching in piano, and these are just kind of some of the bullet points she goes over. Is have a professional website. She creates and leaves business cards at music stores. Performing. I don't know about you guys, but every time I give a special musical number in sacrament meeting, I'll have 2 or 3 people come up and be like, "Do you teach piano?" And when I moved to Vegas, that's how I got most of my students. Was friends knew I taught piano, and they're like, "Oh, could you come play in our ward?" And I was like, "Sure." And then I go, and I didn't plan it that way necessarily. I wasn't like, "Yeah, I'll come play." I'm gonna get some students, you know. But that's kind of what happened. So the more you perform, I think the more opportunities are opened up in that way. And if you're involved in churches and other community organization where there are lots of families, so those are good places to perform. Our churches and other community organizations. And then this is what I was talking about before, getting into group teaching. So as soon as you have enough students, really a great way to do it is group teaching. I'll show you the next slide, see if you can see it. I did a music camp one summer, and it was a great experience. That was the t-shirt that I had made, and that was the flyer. And I did email blasting and flyers in churches and places where there are families and things like that, and had people sign up online, and had a great experience. And you can charge, you know, I charged $150 or something like that for a week, and you can get, you know, 40 to 50 kids sign up and organize them into choirs and do things like that. It's a lot of like organizational work. It's not like you only work those hours during the week, which I discovered. I did a lot of media type stuff and organization work, but it was a way to think outside the box and teach in large groups, and it was a good experience, and it was really profitable. So if you have kind of the mind for that, if you think that would be something, another good idea is to do. One of my friends does like a weekly choir. She like gets T-shirts for kids, and they kind of come to choir like they go to dance. And she actually was like a real inspiration. She was in my class, and she didn't have a degree in music. She just sang, and she made a killing in Vegas doing this kind of stuff. She's another example of like my voice teacher who, you know, she liked to sing. She had 30 kids come over to her house once a week and sing, and she charged them like $15 a kid, you know. So she's making a lot of $450 for that hour that she does, and she organizes it. She has to send out emails, and then she organizes a concert. But I mean, think about the amount of work, the amount of hours that you have to teach to make $450. You know. Anyway, there's smarter ways to do it, and I'm sure any of you could teach a choir and run a choir, and that would be a good thing. Yeah, she had like T-shirts made and all kinds of stuff. And she was just really, really brilliant in the way she marketed herself and marketed her brand. Okay, so at this point, I want to show you guys. This is what I've done, and I'm not trying to say that this is the best example of a website, but this is what I used for years in Vegas for kind of like to get students, and I got a lot of students through it. So here's where my calendar is, and I could get on my phone, I have it hooked up to my phone to where I can type in and schedule something, and then it shows up online. And then it also will send